Everybody, welcome to Storm Talk. Way Through News meteorologist Brian Good. We'll get into some of the snow stuff here in a second. First off, on the board, it's pretty much a constant pattern for next week when it comes to thunderstorm potential, but there are two causes for that. One is a frontal type setup, and one is a low pressure, a cutoff low that'll be the end of the period for the 12th. That next weekend. So we'll get into that detail in a second. First off, this was the snow map that I drew yesterday for the snow today. I was a little too far, probably to the east. I think we did get a little bit of snow that did accumulate more to the in this zone and through here. Even some light dusting across E-Town. But overall, the 1 to 2 inch is lined up right across Lexington and East Kentucky. That is pretty much where that snow is lined up today. And again, the dynamic cooling was the signal there on drawing that snow map. Where will we see that east-northeast wind be dominant, and that's where the temperature drop was. And the big props to the high-res NAM especially. That was one of the models that I was using to help me with that decision. It did a really good job on that setup. Here is the snow now on the radar, and you can see how it's starting to get more green, more changing back into rain now in the area. And the reason for that is this is all rate driven to get the snow to happen. It's like a rubber band. You get heavy snow bursts, precip rate pulls that cold air down aloft, down to the surface. You change it to heavy snow, big flakes, because it's right on the edge of rain and snow. When you get right on that edge, that's when you get the highest moisture content in a snowflake, and they are so sticky they just stick together. And they look like huge flakes. It's actually several conglomerate, if you will, stuck together as they fall. But once the precip rate eases, like a rubber band, it's going to go back into place. And that's what we're seeing now. The temperatures are now trying to get back where they should be in this typical setup without the snow. And that's where we're going to see a little bit of a rise here for this afternoon, and we may hold steady there throughout the night. Having said that, the winter weather advisory is still in effect for Frankfort and Lexington, although conditions are going to be improving there rapidly. I doubt it's officially until 11. I think that will be canceled early. Here's the latest look at temperatures right now. You can see still got a 32 in Carrollton at the moment, but even you guys in North Vernon will see a rise. We've seen a rise here for the rest of wave country the past couple of moments, mainly just drizzle and light rain as we're seeing now across the area. It's part of this low pressure. It's a clipper now diving into Tennessee. That east-northeast flow is key on getting that dynamic cooling to set up, and it was right over central and east Kentucky where that took place. You see the result in the temperatures where that dynamic cooling is in the 30s. Look what happens when you snap back the rubber band, though, back into the 40s to our west. So this is not a situation where we're going to go into a deep freeze tonight and the roads are going to freeze up. That's not going to happen. All right, this is going to be a situation where we're going to probably hold steady, if not rise, a few degrees overnight. And I checked the soundings, and they are supporting that. Here's the NAM 4K soundings. Here's the freezing line at the surface. And notice the red line's temperature, green is moisture, basically, or dew point. Notice that we're above freezing, even at 2 o'clock in the morning tonight. We're above freezing with drizzle, so temperatures just really don't move much. We actually do fall toward the freezing mark when skies try to clear up. That's not until 9 or 10 a.m. tomorrow morning before we drop to our lowest point. And at that point, we're dealing with the sun coming up, so it's not going to be an issue. In other words, for tonight, the way it's looking. We'll monitor it carefully, as always, but I think we're in pretty good shape for tonight. And then tomorrow, in fact, we're trying to hint at a little bit of sun. There's a slight inversion trying to show up, so we may see some clouds linger into the afternoon before they dissipate after sunset. But it's a temporary thing because we have another system moving our way. Here's the RPM model showing how we clear things out gradually Friday night. But then here comes our next clipper that's moving in. Lots of clippers. This one is looking to be a two-phase deal. The second part a little iffy. The first part would be a shower chance, especially along the north of 64, Saturday morning. Then we'll get a break and some sunshine. It's hard to see there, but we did climb well into the 50s, close to 60 in fact, and that initiated a band of showers and even some thunder Saturday afternoon that sweeps by with this front. Right now it's trying to focus that second phase more in our eastern counties, closer to I-75. So the second part of that's iffy. If it all depends on how much sun we pick up, and it's an instability kind of factor here that develops, and we get some instability showers and thunder that could develop Saturday afternoon. So a rain chance on Saturday is probably going to be two-pronged, morning and then late afternoon or early evening for parts of the area. That's the way it's looking right now for Saturday. We'll break it down as we get closer, and then some clouds may stream in from the northwest there, wraparound clouds early on Sunday, but those should fade away by Sunday afternoon. So then after that, Sunday actually may be either the same temperature as Saturday, if not a notch or two cooler, because it is a north flow on Sunday. So it may be sunnier on Sunday, but I don't think it's going to be warmer than Saturday. All right, then Monday looks okay. No problems Monday. Tuesday, we start to feel the effects of this front. moving in toward the Mississippi Valley. This is where it's going to begin to stall. We may see some cloud cover on Tuesday, maybe a spotty area of drizzle with that warm air advection, but I really am not too thrilled on the rain chance here for Tuesday, as I'm still going to plan to keep mainly a dry forecast on Tuesday. But then Tuesday night and Wednesday, we feel the effects of that front and the boundary. And there's a couple low lows, one tracking through the Great Lakes. It'll kind of bend the moisture train slightly on the northern fringe here. But you see what's happening. Repeated bands of showers and thunderstorms training themselves along Arkansas, Missouri, West Kentucky, and some of that will feed along the front, right along the Ohio River, as we into Wednesday. Thursday, that effect of the front is still there. Now, the front is weak. It's going to be weakening at this point, but it's still snaked across the Ohio Valley, and that flow is still going to remain southerly. So more rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Are we talking about severe weather? There could be a couple of periods here where we get some stronger winds, but I think we're going to be so moist. I mean, we have moist atmosphere and we have a lot of warmth. Those are two ingredients that you rarely get in March to really create a severe thunderstorm threat. So those ingredients are there, but the instability, the ability to get some sun breaks in these clouds and to really heat things up, and combining with all of that at once doesn't seem to be lining up from what I'm looking at so far. And really, this far out, it's hard for me to even really gauge with a lot of confidence on that. So we'll worry about the severe aspects once we get into next week, and we'll be able to dissect those day-by-day events a little, in more specifics. At this point, I can't. All I can tell you is that the boundaries, the way they're facing at this point, the way they're going to line up, starting Tuesday night, Wednesday into Thursday, would be a good lineup for a repeated bands of showers, thunderstorms to feed right into our area, and that would lead to a potential for flash flooding. Friday, we get a break. That front finally begins to disappear off the map. It is slightly snaked still across the Carolinas, but loses its punch. But at the same time, a low pressure, where it snakes all the way down into the Gulf, is going to develop at the tail end of this. That new low then will be heading in our direction. So there will be a lull between these two systems. That looks to be Thursday at this point, late Thursday into Friday. Then as we head into Saturday, the low tracks northeast. It's pretty much a cutoff broad low. I mean, broad circulation here with this low. Very warm, very humid over a large chunk here of the Ohio Valley and the East Coast. This is a very expansive area of cloud cover, a lot of moisture at play, so periods of showers and thunderstorms with this low as it tracks to the north and east. It's not overly wound up, so I don't see a lot of problems here when it comes to severe weather with that low, but there could be some instability to work with, some thunderstorms. And then that cutoff low by Sunday will begin to finally open up and head toward the Great Lakes, and we'll be on the drier side of that by Sunday itself. Overall, potential is there for about 2 to 4 inches of rain from the front and the low that will impact us next week. But you see the problem when those repeated bands set up. We're talking about 9 to 10 inches, more than 14 inches of rain in Louisiana, where they get a continuous flow of showers and thunderstorms. We will have to monitor that, because it wouldn't surprise me that some of that may impact our far western counties if some of these bands set up a little further to the north and east than what the models are prog to display that. So it's something to watch. But at this point, I'm thinking a 2 to 4 inch grand total for us appears to be on the table. That can lead to flash flooding and river flooding for sure. So it is something we'll monitor carefully. But overall, the big theme next week, it's going to be humid, warm at night in the 60s, daytime highs, upper 60s to mid 70s, depending on the intensity of the rain during the daylight. And if we get any thinning of the clouds, a little bit of haze or some sunshine to break through, that'll determine how warm we get. But it's going to be warm and humid day and night, starting Monday, and probably not much change in that until sometime that next weekend. So not the best of forecasts. It's going to be gloomy and a lot of rain, but at least it will be warm. So I'm hoping that at least pleases somebody. We'll monitor it carefully. We got to get through these little minor events between now and then first, and we'll cover that more in detail today beginning at 5. See you then.